Saturday morning to everyone. It is Saturday, November 5th, 2022. Welcome to this updated video on the tropics. Now, before we start talking about all this mess that's going on across the central and eastern Caribbean, let's talk briefly about tropical storm Lisa, which was back then potential tropical cyclone 15 when it was south of Haiti, being forecast to, pass south of Jamaica. Look how close the projected path was, bringing it west-northwestward, closer to Jamaica, which would have brought the tropical storm force winds across the island, those strong winds and heavy rainfall that would have brought, a lot more damage. Okay? But what actually happened? The storm actually went more west-northwest. So Jamaica is such a blessed country. We were spared because I even heard of damage that was reported across the island, trees falling on cars, branches falling on cars, and so on and so forth. So we were actually spared the worst. So we have a lot to give thanks for. Let us look at what's happening right now, the significant features. So we see right now where we have a trough right here across portions of the Central Caribbean, including Hispaniola. We have a tropical wave east of the Caribbean and another tropical wave in the main development region. Let's talk about what we see right now. Let's refresh this image quickly. Some persons are asking, why do I use Google Chrome as opposed to a PowerPoint presentation like other YouTubers do? The thing about PowerPoint presentations, we download the images, we upload them. By the time we're talking about them through the PowerPoint presentation, we have updated images, right, coming out. So I like to use Google Chrome, gives me the latest images. So we can see the tropical wave east of the Caribbean and the trough right here, affecting portions of Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic. Lots of clouds associated with these two systems, bringing showers to portions of the northern and eastern Caribbean. Let us look briefly on the Saharan air layer map. We don't have much Saharan dust coming off of Africa right now. We can see the clouds right here. And usually when we have clouds, we have less dry air. However, we can see that we have a lot of dry air across the eastern United States and portions of the greater Antilles, including Cuba, Jamaica, and Haiti. Okay? And we know that dry air sometimes limit the amount of rainfall and cloud that we can get within an area. So the Eastern Caribbean is getting their fair share of heavy rainfall and clouds at this time, not the Western Caribbean. Let's continue. Let us refresh this image and look at the rainbow loop. I always show you guys the rainbow loop showing where the high cold cloud tops are located. We can see where portions of the Dominican Republic are being affected, portions of Puerto Rico getting affected, even the US Virgin Islands, and some of it even spilling into portions of the other islands of the Lesser Antilles, and it should continue throughout the day across portions of Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, Barbuda, Antigua, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Grenada, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago. All of this, the tropical wave mingling with a trough, will be, bringing lots of heavy rainfall. So I hope that you guys are listening to your local officials and trying to, take the necessary steps and precautions so that you're not affected that much. Let us look at the National Hurricane Center's page. We see that this same area that we're just talking about is being highlighted by the National Hurricane Center, the U.S. National Hurricane Center, that is. It is being given a 60% chance to move generally to the north, maybe, passing west of Puerto Rico and then developing in that area in the southwestern Atlantic. So portions of the Bahamas, maybe even affecting persons in Florida. So you guys need to take the necessary, steps, be prepared just in case it develops into something. What's in store, lots of strong winds, heavy rainfall. We also see another area that is being given a 30% chance, that's east of Bermuda, and we see tropical depression Lisa. Let's talk about Lisa, shall we? So Lisa is in the southern Gulf of Mexico in the Bay of Campeche. She's dying right now. She's being sheared off. You can see all those high cloud tops being pushed off by the strong winds in the upper levels towards the east. And what is being, forecast for her by the GFS, she is going to be, remaining a tropical depression or even weakening back to an area of low pressure. What does the EPS show? Basically the same thing. Don't see it developing into a storm in the green or a hurricane in the yellow at all. What about her intensity? Basically the same thing. According to this line graph, it is dropping. Wind speeds are going to be dropping. It's going to be weakening. She's dying off at this time. The tracks are all over the place. Some take it north then south, which is why the U.S. National Hurricane Center did a thing like this. They're not really sure, but it's going to be, meandering, spinning right here until it dies right out. Now let's talk briefly about the tropical cyclone names that we've had thus far. So saw that we had what? Let's talk about the numbers. We had 6 here, and 1 right here, Martin. So that's a total of 13. But what was being predicted for the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season? Colorado State University predicted 20 named storms. How many we have right now? 13. The weather company that owns the Weather Channel was predicting 20 named storms. And the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration was predicting somewhere between 14 to 21 named storms. And it's almost, the end of hurricane season. Why didn't we get to that number? This is why. The sea surface temperature anomalies have a lot to do with what's happening across the entire basin. Okay, we were experiencing a whole La Nina, but we didn't get a wicked season as what was predicted. Why is that? Because in the Caribbean's latitude, the main development region from Africa towards the Caribbean, we did not have the warmest sea surface temperature anomalies that we would have had as compared to the northern portions of the North Atlantic. Up here we see all those reds and oranges. All of this was what was throwing off the entire weather across the Caribbean and the MDR. That's why we didn't get as much storms. I even noticed this in October last year, and I looked at the predictions, and it was saying that, we're gonna have the same thing in 2022. So I was wondering, why are they forecasting an above average season for 2022? And we saw how dead October 2021 was, and October 2021 looked just like this. So that's the thing. When all of these warm waters are in the northern portion of the North Atlantic, it throws off the entire weather. We don't have storms coming off the east and developing one after the other, just like what they would have in the main development region. It's called the main development region for a reason. They come off Africa, they develop here, they move westward. Okay, so if we don't have enough sea surface temperature waters, warm, robust, it won't be, having that kind of effect. The whole entire Atlantic's weather, is thrown off. That's why we didn't get as much storms as was forecast. And to show you the proof that this is actually a legit thing, look at 2005. I know that 2005 was one of the wickedest, most wicked hurricane seasons out there. And we saw that we didn't have what we just saw. We didn't have those, reds and orange up in the northern portion of North Atlantic. We had warmest waters in the Caribbean and the MDR. That's August 2005. Look at September 2005. Look at October 2005. And we saw that we had 28 named storms in 2005. It was a similar thing in 2020. Unfortunately, I don't have the 2020 map to show. Similar thing in 2020. The warmest waters were in the Caribbean and the MDR. So if we ever want to see a lot of storms, which most of us don't, that's when we normally forecast, or when we should normally forecast, a lot of storms for the Atlantic, when we have the warmest waters in the Caribbean or the MDR. See, even 2005, it wasn't a La Nina year, but we had a lot of storms still. Look at 2010. 2010 was one of, a robust year as well. We had a La Nina, but look at the sea surface temperature anomalies. Caribbean and the MDR had the most warm waters. This is August 2010, September 2010, and October 2010. Cooler waters in the northern portion of North Atlantic, in the subtropics. Look at 2017, another robust year. Remember, we had lots of storms like Maria, which affected Puerto Rico. Look, Caribbean, so warm. MDR, so warm. That's August. September, so warm, colder waters up here. And October, same thing. But what about 2022? It just like what I just showed you. That's what it has been looking like for majority of this year. That's why the weather has been thrown off so bad across the entire basin. It still brought some rain. We're not gonna just be empty just like that, but it's what it is. It was predicted to be above average. It was not. And that's the reason why. That's my theory. I don't know about anyone else. All right, let's continue, shall we? So let me refresh this page quickly. Looking at the satellite image rainbow loop, we see where exactly we have the heaviest amount of cloud cover. We know that the reds and the oranges are the high cold cloud tops and the heavy rainfall and so on. So affecting portions of the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, what should I say, the Eastern Caribbean, or the eastern portion of the Central Caribbean. And all of this is moving northward, and some of it is being sheared off to the east. So lots of rainfall is in store for the Eastern Caribbean. I just spoke of the wind shear. Here is where the low pressure is. And look at the wind shear, pushing all of it off to the east or the south, or from the southwest to the northeast. And what is being forecast? When it moves northward now, it is still going to be sheared from the southwest, and then it should enter closer to the Bahamas, where it has a chance of developing, because the shear isn't that robust across the system. See, we have some, white to signal that, it's not going to be as strong across the system, so it might give it a chance to develop. That lots of rain and strong winds, and maybe, rough surf is being forecasted for portions of the southeastern United States at this time. Let's continue. Let's look at the GFS and the Euro first, where the rainfall is predicted to go. So we see same place, moving to the north, and we see where all the rainfall across the Eastern Caribbean is going to be forecasted, and then it'll take it closer to the Bahamas and the southeastern United States. What does the GFS show? Basically the same thing. And when they're in agreement, we know that, whatever is being forecasted is bound to happen. Let's not even go so far. Let's let it remain right there. So the Euro has it there on Thursday, and the GFS has it here on Wednesday. So it's going to be somewhere in this general direction. That's why the U.S. National Hurricane Center has such a large area being shaded, because it's not 100% sure where it's going to be located exactly. Let's continue, shall we? Now, regardless of development, the entire area of low pressure is going to be influencing the entire weather across the Caribbean. Wind has a lot to do with the weather. Right now, we're having northeasterly winds across majority of the Western Caribbean. And Eastern Caribbean, we're having a lot of southeasterly winds across, because there's a broad area of low pressure right here that's expected to go north. Okay. Now, what is being forecasted for Sunday? Look across Jamaica. We have lighter winds, and when we have lighter winds like this, especially during the daytime, we don't have much sea breeze, so the place is a bit hot, very hot. Look at the Eastern Caribbean getting southwesterly and southerly flow, lots of moisture that's gonna bring in. That's for the Euro though. Let's continue. That's Monday, basically almost the same thing, and Tuesday almost the same thing. All right, Wednesday. What about the GFS? Basically showing a similar situation, but it's more robust. You have some stronger winds across portions of the northeastern Caribbean. Euro wasn't showing that at all. It's more offshore. So hope that they're taking the necessary precautions so that they're not affected by these strong winds either. Either way, we know in Jamaica we usually see, but we have what should I say, more an easterly or northeasterly flow. It's gonna be interesting to get all of this westerly or southwesterly or northwesterly kind of flow across the island. It will, influence the weather pattern across the island of Jamaica. So we might, getting rainfall and cloud cover in some places that are not used to it because usually it's east to west. So more than likely central and western parishes, but not necessarily today or next week's rather. All right, let's continue. Let's talk about the rainfall that is being predicted, the accumulated rainfall. So we see we're anywhere between um let's say 1 to 3 inches of rainfall is being forecasted for the eastern portions of Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, the northeastern Caribbean, all those islands that I listed earlier, even the southeastern Caribbean. Okay, that's on the Euro. Lots of rain coming, lots of flash flooding on the way. Same thing for the GFS. GFS even has some strong whites. After purple comes white. That's what, up to almost 8 inches of rainfall. Lots of flooding is in store, all because of this system. And if we actually look at the satellite image from Weather Nerd, we can actually see where those lightning flashes and those lightning strikes are located at this time as well. We see lots of the lightning, heavy thunderstorms east of Hispaniola, south of Puerto Rico. Most of the heaviest activity still across the ocean, the southern Caribbean right there. Let's look at the Doppler radar. I wonder if you guys remember what I said about Doppler radar. Doppler radar shows where it is raining. Blue, light rain, green, into dark green, moderate rainfall. And the yellows are the oranges and the reds, heavy rainfall. Where do we see majority of it right now? Portion of the Eastern Caribbean right now. So I just refresh the page. So areas such as St. Lucia, Dominica, Guadeloupe, getting in on some of the rainfall right now. Heaviest rainfall right now, eastern portions of the Dominican Republic. Puerto Rico is getting ready to, receive some heavy rainfall from the south. U.S. Virgin Islands getting in on some of the rainfall as well. And all of this rainfall will continue across the areas, the island throughout the day. So we have tropical wave rainfall coming in, and we have the trough rainfall coming in from the west. So all of this will merge, lots and lots and lots of rain for the Eastern Caribbean. And as such, more than likely, the local officials in your countries have issued what is referred to as a flood watch or a flood warning. It says a flood warning is issued when flooding is happening or will happen soon. Some roads will be flooded. Move to higher ground. Never drive through flooded roadways. Take action. Flood watch. A flood watch is issued when flooding is possible. Stay tuned to radio, TV. Follow your local official, not necessarily weather.gov, and be ready to seek higher ground. We know what we're supposed to do when the place is going to be flooded or is flooding. Okay, so please take the necessary precautions. Let's continue. It says flash flood safety. Many persons are driving out in the floods and they feel like they can brave the waters. Guys, turn around, don't drown. It says here rapid flowing streams or ditches can sweep you off your feet and your vehicle downstream. Remain alert if you live in flood prone areas. Move to higher ground if flooding threatens. Use caution at night. Stay out of flooded areas. Water may still be rising and very swift. Do not allow children to play in or around flowing water. Floodwaters can hide rocks, trees, and debris. So please take the necessary precautions. I'm talking to all of you in the northeastern and eastern Caribbean. Stay safe, please. Now let's talk about my country, Jamaica. So this morning we're seeing where we're having some, a few patches of clouds coming in from the northeast. Don't have much across the island right now. Very clear and sunny across the island. But we can see where those low-level winds are bringing in some clouds from the northeast. That's where the clouds are coming from the northeast, according to the Euro and the GFS. Okay? And it's the same thing on the Doppler radar. We can see where the rainfall is basically the same place where we have those clouds. So we have the clouds right here, and the Doppler radar is showing us where exactly the same places where the clouds are. Okay, so we see the difference now between the satellite images and the Doppler radar. Good. All right, so let's talk about the afternoon forecast, shall we? On the Euro, we can see where we're being forecasted to have some showers across portions of the central and the eastern Jamaica. So portions of, northern St. Catherine, southern St. Anne, southern St. Mary, portions of northern St. Andrew, even spilling into portions of St. Thomas. That is where the heaviest rainfall for this afternoon is being forecasted. What's the time frame? 4 p.m. Eastern time. That's 3 p.m. Jamaica time. I think it's tomorrow that the daytime savings time is supposed to be changed, if not next week Sunday. And so we'll be on Eastern Standard Time and not Central Time anymore. It's the same thing on the GFS being forecasted. Rainfall across Central and Eastern Jamaica. Okay, not Western Jamaica, as they usually get. All right, so we shall see how that unfolds. Let's look at the long range, shall we? I wonder if you guys remember a tweet that I made. Not a tweet that I highlighted a couple days ago, showing how the cold air coming in from South America gonna cause lots of moisture. It is still in play. Look at the forecast for rainfall across the southern Caribbean and the MDR. It is still in play according to the Euro as well as the GFS. So lots of moisture still coming. What's the time frame? November 5 to the 15th. Okay, so anywhere along the second week of November, we have lots of rainfall still coming in store. So I hope that those persons take the necessary precautions. We don't have much rain in store for Jamaica. I'm not saying that we won't get rain, but it's not as robust as the southern and the eastern Caribbean. So we have a lot to give thanks for. No flooding in store, but we still have rain to get. So it's not like dry anything. We don't have drought coming. We don't have these whites across Jamaica. We have blues. So we have rain to get, but not as, ridiculous as what the eastern Caribbean will get. All right, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Take care.